Back to the daily grind, and shout out to the full-time patrons. Make sure to hit subscribe if you're new and hit thumbs up if you're not a baby back bagel biting bitch boy, cause you know what time it is. It's full time.
MMA.
Mike Jackson is big mad ahead of his UFC 225 showdown with CM Punk. He said this fight's gonna go worse for CM Punk than his Mickey Gall fight. I completely disagree. I think CM Punk's about to come in here and dog walk Michael Jackson. I'm talking about take him down and take him to town and submit his ass. That's what I think's about to happen, but we'll get into that later. We gotta get into Mike Jackson and his interview with Ariel Helwani on the MMA Hour this Monday. He was pretty offended that CM Punk called him a can. And you know, how can you be mad? You know what I'm saying? You know the saying, takes one to know one. Well, Mike Jackson is also, he's like, yo, how can this guy, someone like this, call me a can? Well, I mean, in my mind, both of these guys are 0-1, right? Mike Jackson, in his mind, has proven a lot more as a fighter. I believe he alluded to his kickboxing background that I had no clue about. You probably had no clue about. Hell, CM Punk probably had no clue about. There's not a lot of people that go around talking about Mike Jackson's kickboxing. And even if you wanted to, you would say, well, it didn't really help you in your fight against CM Punk in the UFC, who actually beat Mike Jackson quicker than he beat CM Punk. And my niece is getting her hair done, so let me shut this door. Alright, before you guys hear that from all the way in the other room, let's continue. So, Mike Jackson is saying that this is going to go worse for CM Punk than the Mickey Gall fight. But whenever they both fought Mickey Gall, Mike Jackson's fight arguably went worse, you know what I'm saying? Because he was submitted in the first round. Mike Jackson responded to that and said, yeah, I lost quicker, but look at his, you know, he took more damage, so I mean, we both lost to him, it is what it is. Well, either way, man, this is building into a pretty good fight. Both of these guys lost to the exact same guy, and if CM Punk's gonna have a chance against a UFC fighter, it's gonna be somebody that's about equally as experienced. Now, what CM Punk does look like he'll have the striking disadvantage in this fight if Mike Jackson does have this kickboxing background, which I saw some pictures of Mike Jackson with like some kickboxing gloves on, so you know, he does have a kickboxing background, but that's not going to help him if CM Punk can get him to the ground. If CM Punk can secure a takedown, and he has been putting in the mat time, which has been confirmed by his teammates, Anthony Pettis, you know, he trains with Duke Rufus, who's a great striking coach, so even if CM Punk isn't trying to come in here and outstrike Mike Jackson, he's not going to come in here and try and out kickbox Mike Jackson. He might just be defensive on, you know, and looking for takedowns, trying to clinch him up, maybe trip him. He's going to study the Mickey Gall tape. How did Mickey Gall get Mike Jackson to the ground? You know what I'm saying? He's going to try and get Mike Jackson to the ground and show off his grappling, because not only would that help redeem CM Punk by getting a W, but if he can come in here and get a submission W, it will also show like, yo, I've been working on my ground game. You know what I'm saying? Like, when he just got submitted, it made him look like he didn't belong here. If CM Punk can win by submission against this guy who's been submitted before, so we know Mike Jackson can be submitted, so if CM Punk can get the submission in this win, it's going to really help propel him if he decides to stay in the UFC. You know, right now, CM Punk's the butt of a lot of jokes. Everyone's like, ah ha ha, you're as bad as CM Punk. You know, CM Punk's like the worst fighter in the UFC. If you ask anybody who's the worst fighter in the UFC right now, they're going to tell you CM Punk. Even though Mike Jackson lost to the same guy and even quicker, they're going to tell you CM Punk. Well, if CM Punk comes in here and submits Mike Jackson or even beats Mike Jackson, I think Mike Jackson becomes the answer to that question. But either way, man, this is going to be a fun fight. It's just one fight of many fights on UFC 225. It's not like, you know, you're having to really pay for this fight. It's just going to be something fun to watch. See if CM Punk can redeem himself, or if he comes in here and gets, like, you know, embarrassed again in front of everybody, the UFC and the WWE fans that are going to be watching his fight. So, I mean, I'm going to be watching, you're probably going to be watching UFC 225, everyone's probably going to be watching it stacked. It's the main event, of course, is between, there's the middleweight title fight between Robert Whittaker and also Yoel Romero, the rematch. And then there's another title fight between Rafael Dos Anjos and Colby Covington for the interim title fight. Then there's Curtis Blades versus Mark Hunt. He just beat Mark Hunt. Now Curtis Blades is fighting another top heavyweight, man. Alistair Overeem. He's fighting Alistair Overeem on that card. I mean, I could go down that card. That card is stacked. They just even added another fight. Bobby Green versus somebody. Man, they just added another fight. I didn't even expect they were going to add to this card. I just seen it announced. I'm going to do a separate video on that fight. So with that being said, man, UFC 225 is actually insane. I'm not going to do a separate video on this, so I'll just say it here. I saw like Amanda Nunes low-key, you know, like, well, whoa, this card is kind of stacked. What's going on with UFC 224? Like, because we just had UFC 223. The next pay-per-view is UFC 224. Well, the UFC's official Twitter like shared like, yo, stacked, look at this card, UFC 225, and it was just showing every single fight stacked. Like every single fight on that card is a good fight. And Amanda Nunes retweeted it like, what about UFC 224, yo? You know, like, can we get some love? No, but UFC 224 is going to be in Brazil. UFC 225 is going to be in Chicago. On paper, UFC 225 is for sure more stacked, and that's with CM Punk versus Mike Jackson on the card. So I can't wait for that fight. I got CM Punk, hashtag WarPunk. Let's fucking go. Let the full-time family know what you think in the comments about Mike Jackson versus CM Punk, or just UFC 225. I'm out. And as always, thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the subscribe button and also hit the notification bell right next to it so you're notified every time I upload a video. I'm out.
This is #1 bullshit.